Okay. Just a second. Right, whilst we give everybody a minute to come in, let's just see. Who do we have with us so far? We have Holly Palmer. Holly Palmer, how is the course going for you?
Hello, it's going well so far.
Okay, have you started off and you've got a good idea of what's happening at least?
Yes, I just have a few questions about the assignments, but it will come. It's fine.
Okay, well, you're still 3 months away from your first one.
Yes,
So do not worry about that. But yeah, if you do have questions, we'll definitely be able to help you.
thank
Also,
you.
everybody, thank you, and good luck. All right, so
Thank you.
this is the last class of 2024 for ECD. This doesn't mean you don't have classes, right? I want to be very clear with you. This is the last additional class we're doing, like now. All your classes that you need are already on the portal. All the classes that you need are already on the portal. So you can study through the whole of December, should you wish, right? You can study, but the live classes are going to come to an end, and next year we will resume. Okay, perfect. Everybody's in. I'm just going to ask Pedro to be my co-host. Let's do that. Don't know why my screen keeps deciding to do something else. Okay, perfect. Let us begin. All right. So today we're looking at what is a developmentally appropriate ECD setup. The reason we are doing this, and it's very important, the reason you need to know this is because this is 100% an exam question. Every single exam has this question, right? They ask it in slightly different ways, but the information covered today is important. It's important for your assignments, but it's also important to know, right? It is an exam question asked in both level 4 and level 5, right? And we're going to go through what the core material is, right? If you're not yet here in your study notes, don't worry about it, right? Get the knowledge anyway. All right. So when we look at developmentally appropriate setups, right, we're looking at what makes an ECD center successful and correct, right? So in order for there to be a suitable environment, three things need to happen. Number one, we need to understand how children develop. That's why you do a lot of child development. Number two, you need to understand what the strengths and weaknesses are of each child in your class. Number three, you need to understand social, cultural, and traditional and religious backgrounds for each of the children in your class. All right, so there's three things you need. Understand what child development is, what are the strengths and needs, and what is the social, cultural, and religious background of each of your children. Okay, that's just to have an ECD center that's successful, that is what you need. Right? Now, how do we make the ECD classroom developmentally appropriate? So developmentally appropriate means that it is appropriate for the developmental level of the child. So if you have an ECD center that doesn't meet the needs of the child at that developmental level, then your center is not appropriate. Your classroom is not appropriate. I, for example, I mean, you'll hear me say this in so many videos. If I walk into an ECD center or classroom and I see the tables are all in lines, and it looks like a grade 1 class or a grade 2 class, I immediately know it's not appropriately developed. It's not developmentally appropriate, right? Because the needs of children in our ECD centers are very different from the needs of children who can sit for long periods and start studying. So a few things we look for. Number one, is it structured? Is it organized? Does it take into consideration the needs, interests of each child, right? So are things packed very high Is everything labeled in very small font? Is it teacher friendly or is it child friendly? Right? Who's the goal of the classroom? Right? Are the activities that are planned and are the activities that they're doing, is it according to the needs of the children? Is the teacher teaching something which has no value to these children at the moment? Right? So if the child is 2 or 3, right, are we teaching them to count after 10? Right? What does this match this developmental level when they should be using their whole bodies and exploring? Is the classroom flexible? Is it stimulating? Right? With definite structures. This means, do you have things that don't move? So maybe a reading corner and a math corner. But then do you have other spaces where you can change it to make it a play area or a center square or something that's adaptable so that your lessons can become more creative? And finally, is the teaching appropriate? Right? Is what you're teaching suitable? All right. So when you look at what practice is appropriate, we need to make sure that number one, right, you are selecting material to teach that is appropriate for your ECD. It is not a set curriculum. Yes, there are curriculum guidelines, but you must be willing to teach what is appropriate for your ECD. It doesn't help that you finish a curriculum, but the children have learned nothing because you haven't met them at their level. Does your approach include things such as taking each child's needs and values into consideration, or is it just the same for everybody? Because if it's the same for everybody, if you assume everybody can count to 5, and that's where you start, you're going to lose many of the children who cannot. If you can assume that everybody can hold a spoon and a fork to eat, so you're not going to teach them that step, you're going to go straight into cutting skills, you've lost a set of children. Very importantly, in our ECD classrooms, the teacher is an active observer, facilitator, director, and planner. Right? So you've got to be able to slip into all of these different roles in your classroom to be able to work out how to best meet the individual needs of the children. This is a very important question that's asked all the time. Is there a difference between activities that are teacher initiated and learner initiated? Right? Are there group activities and individual activities? So let's stop there for a quick breather. Nobushle, are you with us? Please unmute yourself and I'll call your name so I can get to hear you. Okay. Nicole Gianna, are you with us? Remember, there's a little microphone at the bottom left of your screen. You can click that to speak. Okay, Caroline Mayer.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Okay. Tell me, Ms. Giamma, what is a teacher-initiated activity? Give me an example of a teacher-initiated activity. If you had to guess, I mean, we all learn. So what would a teacher-initiated activity?
A teacher-initiated activity.
Okay, so think of the words teacher, initiated, teacher starts the activity, the teacher directs the activity.
I'm kind of confused because I don't know if am I supposed to be in this class.
No, you're supposed to be, yeah. Nobody knows. You're in the right place.
Oh, okay.
So I'm asking you to guess. If you look at the words teacher directed, so the teacher takes direction of the activity, what's one activity you can think of?
Um, so does the activity have to be intellectual or it can be
No,
just like a
just
activity?
just with 3-year-olds. Let me give you an example, right? If
Okay.
you do a morning circle time, and the children all come in, and now we're all singing a song, right? Doesn't the teacher take the lead there? She tells them which song is next and shows them how to sing it.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
So that's teacher directed. If I
Okay.
have, because she directs, if I have a group of children and I say, we're now going to play, so pick a toy and then come and we're going to play an imaginary game, that is child directed because they take the lead. Does that make sense?
Okay. I think the one that I can think of is partaking in dancing.
Okay, tell me about that.
The teacher can lead the dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she or he can lead the dance moves to the children and what kind of dance moves maybe that comes with the song.
There
Like
we are.
maybe, and you know it, clap your hands, stomp your feet.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I love that. All right. Okay, so it's quite important to be able to see that you need both types of activity in your classroom. You need ones where the teacher takes the lead, but you also, very importantly, need things where the child gets to play with their imagination. So, for example, when you're outside and you say, go play on the jungle gym, right? That's child initiated and child directed because they get to decide what they are. Am I a pirate? Am I this? Am I that? What am I doing on this jungle gym? That's child initiated. All right, let's move on to the next. Right. So when you look at a classroom, right, there's an environment and it consists of two parts. Number one is the physical design of the classroom. Where are the chairs? Where are the tables? Where's each corner? What's each learning station? Number two, it's the climate of the classroom. So what is the feel of the classroom? Very often we are very good with physical. We know that we need a reading corner. We know you need a numeracy corner. We know we need a nap corner. We know we need a fantasy play. We know these things and we'll learn about them, of course. What's very difficult sometimes is the social emotional climate, the feel of the classroom. Right. So when you come across what is the requirements of a classroom, number one, there needs to be an indoor space. There needs to be an outdoor space. There need to be resources available, right? You must have a physical environment that provides opportunities for learning through discovering and exploring. That's all physical. There are different learning areas, and each area is arranged so that there's maximum learning that can take place. That's physical. That's quite easy. When you get to portfolio 4, you actually have to design your own classroom. And you'll see that it will just flow from there because you'll know what each of the different learning areas are. Right. Actually, let's stop there. Let's ask some questions. Caroline Mayer, could you unmute yourself for us?
Hi, Nick.
Hi there. Have you been to an ECD classroom? Do you work in an ECD classroom?
Um, I have been to an ECD center where my kids actually went to school.
Ah, perfect, 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 perfect. So when you looked at the classroom, could you see that there were different spaces for different things?
Yes, I could. There were a space to work and a space to play, basically.
Oh, okay. So that is a very simplistic design. All right. Space to work, space to play. Great. When you looked at that classroom, what made you think, yes, this is a good classroom for my child?
It was basically because of the safety. So each classroom was divided with walls and everything was locked with little gates and so on. So the kids weren't able to run around like they want to.
Perfect.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, that's very important. So part of the physical design of a classroom is also the movement of children through the classroom, right? If you're designing an ECD center, you need to be very aware that safety is something parents look at when they enter into a classroom space. Okay, Puleng, thanks, Caroline. Puleng Priscilla, are you with us? Could you unmute yourself? Okay. We will move on to Shali's base.
Hi,
Hi,
space.
base. Okay. Um, Shalice, have you been to an ECD center? Have you worked at one? Have you visited one? Do you have a child in one?
Yeah, when my daughter was in one, but I'm not
Oh,
currently
okay.
working at one. Yes, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So when you saw that center, what made you think learning can happen here?
I would say it would have been the look and the feel of the atmosphere
Hmm.
that drew me to the center. Yeah,
What
yeah.
was
The
the
look and the
look?
feel of
I'm putting you a
welcoming,
bit on the
warm.
spot here.
No, no, it's okay. Welcoming, warm, friendly. Yeah.
Hmm. Did it look organized?
Lively. Yes, organized, yes.
But did it look welcoming to children?
Yes, yeah.
Could you see that there were different areas where learning could happen?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And that's exactly it. So the physical design of a classroom is often one of the first things people see when they enter a classroom. Number one, is it accessible? Is it child friendly? Remember right in the beginning, we said, is the classroom designed for the teacher or the child? It's designed for the child. So things are low, things are accessible, and there's security that's kept in mind, right? So that's all within the physical space. Now, according to the department, a few things are necessary in a classroom, all right? Number one, all the resources that children need should be accessible by the children. So you cannot store things on very high shelves, right? Why? Because we don't want children climbing up things to try and put their lunchbox on a shelf, right? This is just common sense. We keep shelves within the reach of children. Number two, right? We have information on our walls and on our boards, and this can be learners' work, the information like what we're learning about, what interesting projects happened, what time is it, which month is it, which season are we in, because this is a form of learning, all right? And children should be encouraged to help manage the classroom space. So this means that there's tasks, there's duties such as we tidy up now, we lay the table, we pack away our lunch boxes. So children should feel like this space is actually, they are part of this space, right? It is their space. They feel responsible for that space, right? That's the inside space. Let's look at space requirements. Again, this is a question very often asked, right? Number one, if you're looking at how many children your ECD center can take, you need to look at the following. Number one, how many children do you have? Number two, what's the square meterage that you have, right? So if the department ever comes to inspect you, they will take the square meters and they'll say your outside space needs to be 2 square meters per learner. 2 square meters per learner outside. All right, let's do this with a bit of simple maths. Right, Zandile Julius, are you with us? Okay. We've just finished this plan. Let's see. Mkateko Ndove. Ammonia Radebe. Could you unmute yourself?
Good evening, Nick.
Okay, Mkateko, I'll come back to you in the next question. Okay, so ammonia, right? I want you to consider the following. You have an ECD center, and your garden space outside the center is 10 square meters. Can you have 8 children?
8 children.
Yes. If your square meterage outside is 10 square meters, can you have 8 children?
I'll say yes.
Okay, so let's look at the rule. The rule says there must be 2 square meters per child to play outside. It's a bit of a trick question, right? Basically, what you need to do is you need to take your square meters, which is 10, divided by 2, and that will tell you how many children you can have. So if you have 10 square meters, you can have 5
Oh,
children,
5
right?
children.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Perfect. It's a bit of a terrible question. Sorry for putting you on the spot, right? But a lot of people forget the simple rule, right?
Oh,
Kateko, I'm going
okay.
to come and ask you a question shortly. So that's the one rule. They look outside and they say, okay, number one, look at how many square meters do you have? And let's divide that by 2 because that's the amount of children you can have. Number 2, right? Does the outside have a space for running, jumping, digging? Is there actual movable space for the child? Finally, if you go indoors, it must be 1.5 square meters per learner. So if you look at your ECD classroom, right, let's say you're going to open one in your community and you have a 9 square meter room. You have to divide that by 1.5 and you can then work out how many children you can have. All right? Does that make sense? That's how many children you're allowed to have at your center. Okay. So we spoke about the physical, the building, the garden, the outside. We spoke about that. Let's look at what the social, emotional climate is of the classroom. Before I move on to that, I see in our chat we've got 4 comments. Let's see. Okay, it was people answering the math question, right? Noko, you're on the right track. Well done. Okay, so the particular characteristics of the learner in the classroom has to be taken into account, right? So what this means is you need to look at the area that your classroom is in. If you are teaching children from a place where there's a lot of hunger, there's a lot of crime, maybe there's a lot of poverty in the area, right? You cannot have a classroom that looks and feels the same as a classroom that is in Stanton Madiba Square. Does that make sense? Right? Because the children in this area need something different, right? They need more security. They need to feel more connected. They need to have more comfort from the environment, right? There probably needs to be a feeding scheme in place. So the needs of the children in the area dictates how you create the space. The ECD practitioner learner ratio will influence the social economic climate. What this means is, right, if there are too many students for one teacher, right, the students will not all learn the same. People will struggle because ECD centers are about personalized attention. So you cannot have 40 children in one teacher or 30 in one teacher. They need an assistant at least to help you make sure that each child gets care. We also want to make sure that the classroom is warm and accepting. So people mustn't be afraid to go in. Children mustn't feel like they're going to be criticized if they come into class. They're going to be screamed at for getting things wrong, right? It's a safe space for them. Okay. Appropriate grouping. Okay, now, this is an important section because when you're facilitating a learning program, you need to be able to do small group work, which is 3 to 4 learners. Whole group work is where the whole class does something, the teacher works with the whole class, and then individual work where the teacher works with one learner at the time. So in your chat bar, I want you to please give me one group activity. What could you imagine a teacher doing with 4 children? So get into groups of 4. What could you imagine a teacher doing with a whole class? And what can you imagine a teacher doing with individuals? Mandisa, are you with us? No, Nkateko, I said I'd come back to you. Nkateko, are you with us? Okay, I see somebody's unmuted themselves. Mandisa, is it you?
Yes, it's me. Hi.
Okay. Hi. Mandisa, do you have some experience in ECD already, or is this your first rodeo?
I do have some experience. I work as a day mother.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Mm.
So can you give me an example of what a small group activity would be?
A small group activity would be something that you would do with say maybe children of a similar age. So if you were having, like, for example, a block building activity,
Yeah.
you could maybe focus on a particular skill with those three children that is specific, that an
That
outcome
is
that is
an
specific.
amazing example. That is such an amazing example, right? I'm so happy to hear that. So block building is the best small group activity because you can get involved with them, but also allow them to work with each other as a group. That is amazing. Thank you. I didn't even think of that. All right. That was Mandisa. Well done, Mandisa. Noko, are you with us? Nkateko, are you with us? Okay. Ali Fonsina, you with us? Nivashni, are you with us? Okay, when I call your name, please remember to unmute yourself so that I can ask you some questions. You can contribute. Okay, Nivashni is not with us. Daphne, are you with us? Hi, Daphne, can you hear us?
Hi, Nick. Yes, I
Hi.
can hear you.
Good, good. Daphne, tell me, right, what can you see being a whole class activity where everybody's listening to the teacher or everybody is being guided by the teacher?
I would think of an activity where we are on the theme, where we're learning about our body, and
There
then
we
the
are.
teacher, yes, the teacher will be teaching children about different parts of our body, as well as the types of senses that we get using our body. So we will show a demonstration to the learners that this is my tongue. And then in terms of senses, I use my tongue to taste. And then you tell the learners to imagine they having an outing, having ice cream, and then they taste.
They show their
And
tongue.
then, yeah, so most of the learners in the class would probably have an experience of an ice cream. Even those who don't have the experience, they will learn from the other learners. So in this way, it engages all the learners in the class. It accommodates them. So those who don't have an idea, they imitate the others. And in that way, they have learned not only in theory, but as well as experience.
Perfect. So what we have there,
Yeah.
right? A whole class activity is when a teacher is giving information to the whole group. So whole class activities are best when you're introducing a topic to the children, right? That is when it is best. It's best when you're introducing a topic to the children. So like in this example, and let's keep this example, right? We are learning parts of our body. So the whole class will first be, this is my tongue, this is my eyes, this is my nose. Okay. Then Once you have taught the whole class, they can go into small groups, so 3 or 4, and they can point tongues at each other, touch your nose, and your friend touches their nose, right? Touch your ear, they touch their ear, left ear, right ear, together in groups. And then finally, you have individual activities. And this is usually where children are struggling. And you take the child and you say, okay, come, we're going to work together a little bit now. Where's your nose? Where's your ear? Right? Do you see how all 3 of them are very important? Whole class is where it starts. So your teaching starts with whole class. It moves to group work. And then finally, it moves to individual work. Okay, that's appropriate grouping. Mixed age grouping is appropriate for young children. All right? Actually, the Montessori school is one of the most famous approaches for mixed age grouping. Right? Let me just cough, give me a second. Right. So learners can be grouped together, right? Usually between the ages of 3 and 6. That's if it is a necessity for play groups, right? Children can then play alone with other children or in small informal groups, right? This is called family grouping. And we call it family grouping because this is how children would play with each other if they were at home, right? If they were at home, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds all play along with each other. So family groupings helps expose young learners to situations where their children are slightly different ages. What they will learn here is called situational learning or social learning because they will learn behaviors and actions from each other and from older learners, right? It provides the opportunity for children to develop at their own pace. So for example, a 3-year-old who's very advanced, once they're with a 5-year-old who is not as advanced developmentally, they could actually enjoy both of the same type of play and build each other up, right? Family groupings is also quite important for ECD centers because it helps you with resource management, which means they can be a central place where the building blocks are, and then you're not dividing resources between many classrooms, right? When there are organized group activities like storytelling or creative, then we should divide into respective ages. So if your center uses family groupings, right, when it comes to activities such as storytelling or organized group activities, then we go back to our groups. I want you to be very aware of this. Family grouping is suitable for children between the age of 3 to 6. If the child is younger than 3 years old, right, they cannot cope socially. They cannot cope socially with older learners, right? They need more specialized attention, right? They have shorter attention spans, so they cannot be, if they're younger than 3, they cannot be in a mixed family grouping. They cannot be with children that are 5 or 6. But if they are 3, they can be with children that are 4, 5, or 6. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, let's get into consistent daily schedules. All right, let's go and see who do we have that we can work with. Let's start at the bottom of my list this time. Salumo, are you with us? Okay. Rachel, are you with us? Rachel, not with us? Okay, Miss Galaxy A12, are you with us? Oh my, is nobody with us? Remember to click the microphone to unmute yourself. Nivashni, are you with us?
Nick, I'm here.
Ah, Rachel, you're in. Okay, Rachel, I'm going to
Yes.
make an experiment with you today. All right?
Okay.
Right. Rachel, how does your morning routine go? So what do you do every single day? You wake up, do you then shower, have breakfast, get in your car, go to work? What summarize a morning routine for me very quickly. You can even make it up if you want.
Okay, pretty much what you said. I go for a run in the morning. I wake up at 5, go for a run, come back, shower, get the kids ready, then make breakfast for the kids, then get in my car, get the kids in the car, then go to work.
Do you run the same route every day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Rachel, imagine tomorrow morning you wake up, all right? You
Yes.
put on your shoes and you go for your run. When you arrive to the starting point of your run, you're like, okay. And then suddenly you discover that actually you are 4 blocks off your run.
Okay.
And so you keep running, but then you're back on track again. All right? You're going to feel a bit weird, right?
Yes.
Then you go home and now you need to make breakfast for the kids.
Yes.
So you open up you walk into the kitchen, you walk to where you think the fridge is, but now it's on the opposite side of the kitchen.
Okay.
Right? The stove is now where the fridge is where the stove was. When you open the cupboard for the spoons, it's actually the forks. When you open the cupboard for the plates, it's actually the cups. Right?
Okay.
You're going to start feeling a bit irritated, aren't you? You're going to feel like
Yes.
this is ridiculous.
Yes.
Right? Then you get in your car and you're driving to school. Right? When you get
Yes.
to where the school was, you realize they've moved to another building overnight without letting you know. Right?
Yeah. I'll be very
Are you not going to believe you're going crazy?
Yes, definitely.
Are you going to be very friendly?
First, I'll be irritated. Then
Yeah.
I will just think there's something wrong with me.
Yes. Right? And let's say your friend calls you at this time and says, hey, listen, do you want to know the latest gossip? What are you going to say to her?
This time, it's
Yes. You've just
time
discovered the school has moved, your morning run route has changed.
to-
You usually run
I'm
5
gonna tell her I
kilometers, today
think
it
I'm
was
going
10.
crazy.
Yeah. And you're going to be like, I don't have time for this. Right? I don't have time for your gossip. Like nothing makes sense to me. Right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're driving now to the new building. And instead of everybody driving on the right, everybody's now driving on the left.
I'll definitely think I'm crazy.
Yeah. And you're going to be stressed, right?
Oh, yes, very. Yes.
Right? And how are you as a stressed person? Are you nice to be around? Do you learn a lot when
No,
you're stressed?
I'm
No,
grumpy. I'm not nice to be around.
exactly. So what I described now to Rachel might sound very dramatic, guys, but this is exactly how a child experiences it when their daily schedule changes, right? Rachel feels secure because Rachel knows in the morning when she goes for her run, she knows where to turn, how to turn, what time to get back by so that she can make breakfast, right? Rachel knows how long she has to make breakfast and where all the tools are to make breakfast. Rachel knows that if she drives for 10 or 15 minutes, the school will be at the end of this road. Now imagine how frustrating it is for a child, right? And that makes Rachel feel secure, right? Rachel feels she can plan her day, she can work, she can relax into it, she knows what's coming next. For a child, that is exactly what the classroom is, exactly what the ECD routine does. If you keep changing your routine, the child doesn't know what's going to happen next. They are like Rachel on that day that everything just goes crazy, right? They have no idea what time it is now. They have no idea what we must do now. You have no idea. You don't feel safe, right? And you become quite a terrible person because of it, right? Because now they feel so insecure and they don't even know that they're processing stress, but they feel so insecure because they cannot control the environment, that they cannot learn. They cannot trust anyone because of it. Right? This is the most important thing you must remember of schedules. Imagine if nothing in your life made sense suddenly one morning. And then I ask you to please memorize a bit of information. You're going to lose your mind. Right? Likewise, when children walk into our classrooms, we have a set schedule. Children know from very young, oh, after we do this, we then wash our hands. Then we do numeracy. Then we go for break. then we go and do a song. Children are very aware of that. And we need to use that to our advantage, because by changing it, we're actually causing harm to the children in this space. Right. Of course, you cover a lot of this in more detail in your notes, but this is just some important information regarding developmentally appropriate ECD centers. Then, an ECD center, which I hope many of you will start your ECD center, but an ECD center, right, is a group effort. It involves the parents, the children, the teachers, the government, the community, the nurses, the social workers. Everybody gets involved in this ECD center, which means that communication has to be. Oh, who's unmuted at this moment? There we are. Which means that you need to be a great communicator, right? A child feels safe when they know that their parents are involved, right, in their education. A parent feels safe when they know that you are an effective communicator with them. If the child knows that you and the parents are working together, the child will be very motivated to learn, right? They won't have a territorial attitude and they will want to learn. But if they feel like there's a difference between the two, they will not. Okay. So let's revise. First, let me look at your questions and let's do some revision. Okay, network problem. Okay, Salomo, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. All right. I see there's no other questions in this. So let's do some questions. Mandisa, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi, Mandisa. If I had to ask you, what is a family grouping in ECD? What is family grouping? Could you explain it to us?
A family grouping would be a group of children of differing ages, say from 3 up to 6. So it would be like what you would find in a home environment, basically. So if you have a group of children, different ages, that would be a family group.
Yeah, and we allow them to play together so that they can learn from each other.
Yes.
Right, Mandisa, whilst I've got you, can I put a 1-year-old in with a 3- and 4-year-old?
No, because they have specific developmental needs and they would be overwhelmed in a group with bigger kids.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Our group today is on point. You guys are really on point. Right. Daphne, are you with us? Nkateko, are you with us?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Nkateko. I'm so glad you're back. All right, Nkateko. All right.
Hello.
Can you tell me, when you look at the physical design of a classroom, what are a few hints you would give a teacher who wants to start a classroom for the physical design? How many meters does she need outside, and how should she set up the classroom? If you had to give 2 quick ideas to her, what would it be? It's a bit of a terrible question, I know.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna try to answer, but I'm a student, say, but I'll just try to answer.
That's fine. We're all new and we will all make mistakes. Even I will make mistakes as we teach, so please do not worry.
Hello, sir.
Hi there. I said we will all make mistakes. Even me, as I'm teaching, I will get things wrong. So tell me, what guideline, how many square meters is it per child outside the classroom?
2.
2. That is
2
correct.
square meters.
That is correct, 100%. So
Yes.
can you run an ECD center without an outside area?
8.
Can you run an ECD center without an outside area?
No, that is possible because kids need to play outdoors sometimes.
Perfect, 100%. Right, thank you, Mkateko. I
Yes.
appreciate it. All right. Okay, and I think the last question. I've picked on all of these people so much. Let's see somebody who hasn't answered. Zoom user, I'm not sure who you are. Or Nobushle, are one of you available? Okay. Holly Palmer, I see you've got network issues, but are you available? Okay, I think the network might have taken her. Caroline Mayer, sorry, oh, my English today. Are you with us? I see you've unmuted yourself. Caroline, are you with us? Okay. Zandile, Julius, are you with us? Okay, I see you've
Hi.
unmuted. Hi, Zandile. It is Zandile, right?
It's Zandali, actually.
Zandali. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to try and remember that. It looks very complicated. Okay, Zandali, could you tell me what are the benefits of having a consistent daily schedule in the classroom?
Okay, firstly, the children would feel safe coming into your classroom, and also they would know what happens next. So they would know after breakfast, we all put our bowls in the tray. From there, we have our bathroom routine. After bathroom, then the activity starts, or we have our ring time, our circle time.
That is perfect. So it gives them security, it gives them
Yes.
confidence, it gives them stability, and it allows it easier for them to learn. That is
Yes.
amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to tell me your name one more time. Sam?
Zandali.
Zandali. Zandali, I'm going to try my
Yes,
best to
thank
remember
you.
it. Okay, perfect.
Thank
Thank you so much. All right, so ladies, and gentlemen, if there are, it's true. What's the key points you need to take away today? Number one, the classroom is both a physical space as well as an emotional space. The rules for a physical space are the square meters, things must be accessible, and it must be a friendly environment for the child to have access to the resources. The emotional space means that there's a routine, there's a structure, and it is designed with the child in mind. It is organized and flexible. Children feel safe, they feel secure, and that is done through the routine. And we can then have family groupings for play. Also, the social emotional structure of the class will include things such as how we group children together in our classes. All right. Perfect. That is it from my side for today. Many of our students here today are new. I want to let you know that this recording will be published on the groups. It will also be added to the portal. Right. This is our last live recording for the year, and then we will continue when the lecturers are back next year. But your lectures for the remainder of the year are on the portal. They are on your as you study. All right. If you have any questions, please contact our admin to help. Holly Palmer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you have questions to ask, I'm going to ask you to stay behind because I'm going to stop the recording, right? If not, if you don't have any questions to ask, I'm going to ask you to have a stunning evening. And I hope to see you guys all again next year. in our next live lecture. Have a beautiful evening, everyone. Thank you for contributing. Goodbye. Right. Let's give everybody a